Hello everybody, my name is Travis, here with the Baltimore guys, and on this episode of Anatomy of the Athlete, we are going to be covering tricking.
What you talking about, Willis?
It is an art form known as tricking. Actually, not heard of before. It's called tricking.
She tricked.
I'm tricking. I ain't making $500. What the hell? Hey.
And no, not that type of tricking. The tricking we're going to be talking about is a new sport that is taking the world by storm. So we're gonna head down to Extreme Cheer in Fairfax, Virginia to hang out with some of the best trickers in the DMV just to get a little perspective on what this sport is all about. Come on, let's head on down. Alrighty, so we're here at Cheer Extreme in Fairfax, Virginia, and we're gonna be training with a couple local trickers, just get an idea what the movement's all about. What is this whole tricking thing? You know what I mean? I know a little bit of stuff myself, but we're gonna hang out with some pros, ask them some questions for the next 3 days, and see what we can get out of this thing called tricking. All right, come on, let's go. Now, my first question for you is, what is your definition of tricking?
My definition of tricking would be an aesthetic blend of martial arts, breakdancing, and gymnastics.
Tricking to me is, it's freedom of expression. It came from a martial arts background, but it also has become its own identity. And to me, it's essentially becoming the superhero we wanted to be as children.
Expression. I really have no other word for it. It's just everything that I could think of in terms of movement and execution.
There's so many definitions for that. For me personally, tricking is creativity. Showing yourself through creativity.
I would call it self-expression. Every person has kind of their own style of tricking and kind of their own way of doing it.
Yeah, so what I usually tell people is it's like you jump up in the air, do a flip and a twist, and come down with a kick. It's really, at the end of the day, just like get together, have some sort of floor, and move in a way that makes you feel good and like ideally looks cool too. And that's it.
Now that we have a better understanding of what this sport is, a lot of athletes don't participate in sports for the W's, fame, or glory. There's always a sense of spiritualism, a higher purpose, or a calling as to why they do what they do. I've been welcomed into this community with open arms from some of the best trickers, and it's been very humbling how they've helped me in my personal life, taught me how to hone my athleticism into my own expressionistic art of movement. So I'm very curious, what is the higher purpose when it comes to the community of trickers? Is there benefits, or do you see something as far as molding a new generation that could come out of tricking and showing them these things?
Yes, I personally found a lot of ways to express myself through tricking, and I hope that my students learn that they can express themselves, enjoy the way they move, and like really learn to love their body and how to move themselves.
The community for tricking is one of a kind. Everybody is helpful. Everybody wants to see you grow. And because there is no base level, there's certain people who can do tricking for 3 months and do a skill that is something that somebody who's been training for 25 years can't do. And it can be vice versa. Somebody who's been training for 25 years has all these things that somebody who's only started can't really do.
Okay.
And I think because of that, it kind of puts everybody on the equal ground, and everybody is humble and kind of wants to see everybody grow. And it gives inspiration for different moves.
The spiritualityness of tricking, I've literally talked to different people who, they didn't really know where they wanted to go with tricking, or they were having a hard time. And I told them, I was like, tricking in itself is stressful, but it's also a stress reliever. That's like life. Life is stressful, but it can be something very beautiful that you experience and enjoy so much that, you just keep going. And then there are people, who are having a hard time experiencing that. And I always tell them, I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, you will find the path that works best for you. I say that I'm a very passionate person in the world of tricking, and that right there, helps me to be able to give back as much as I can.
Where do you see the future of tricking going, as a sport, as a movement? How do you see it progressing in the future?
So, there's a lot of initiatives, and I'm not really keyed into that stuff. Like Will's way more into that, like adrenaline, that are trying to make it so that people can be professional trickers. And I think that's great. I love also like the initiatives to formalize the training of it. So like Koja's Trick Lab, I was one of the first subscribers to that. I love it so much. Trick Strong, I just started doing the Bulletproof Athlete on Trick Strong. I'm loving what Neil has to say and stuff. So like, I think moving towards more maturity as athletes is one
Future tricking looks ridiculous. There's like so many children just throwing triples. It's ridiculous. So I see a lot of power moves coming out of it. As far as like the creativity side of it, it's getting like a little smaller. Not a lot of people showing themselves though, creative wise. So I'd like to see more of that.
I mean, it's still a growing sport. I see it having a lot of potential because I'm introducing it to a lot of my younger students as well, who are, just learning tricking. So I think with all the new generation that's learning tricking, I think it's gonna probably grow up in popularity a lot. I feel like my generation of tricking is going to, be that nice foundation for that new generation.
So I've been tricking probably close to about 20-something years at this point. I think tricking is going to go in such a very beautiful place moving forward. I know right now it's kind of still a little bit in its adolescence, still trying to figure out what it is, where it wants to go, and how it is currently. But I have nothing but high hopes for tricking because I see, one, the amount of passion that people have for it, and then two, I see the talent that's coming up, and it's coming up really quickly.
There's a lot of different avenues that the sport can go into. I see a lot of things that Adrenaline Worldwide is doing. Vertigo is making waves with their high prizing tournaments, basically. And Shapes Live Battles has been basically bringing forth a bunch of different gatherings all over the United States to be able to happen.
I think for me, the heart of tricking is really the love and compassion of the community. I didn't come back because I want to stretch my legs and do tricks. I mean, I want to do that. But I came back because it's so cool to see my friends doing flips and just to be hype as hell every single time. Because it's like, there's very few other communities, I think, where no matter what you do, you know that people are always going to be supporting you and like watching your growth and rooting for your growth all the time.
So there you have it. A lot of athletes find themselves in leadership positions as parents, mentors, business professionals, and at the end of the day, a lot of us started this as nerds who took some form of martial arts and who really love anime. Times 9,000.
What's your favorite anime character?
Gohan.
Gohan?
Z Broly.
Broly? Okay. Wilf?
Buddha from Record of Ragnarok.
Ragnarok? Well, who's your
Tanjiro no Musume. I got that keychain from Japan.
All right, so mine is Batman from the animated series. Does that count? Does that count? Yeah? All right, cool.
So there you have it. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Baltimore Guys, Trickers Edition, Anatomy of the Athlete segment. Be sure to stay tuned for more content like this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And in the comment section below, feel free to let us know which sport you would want us to cover next. And if there are any trickers out there watching this video right now, comment below your favorite go-to move, and who knows, we might feature it in part 2 of Anatomy of the Athlete, Trickers Edition. This is Travis, signing off for the Baltimore Guys. Thank you guys very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed. Much love.